The sea is calm tonight, stretching wide beneath the endless sky. Waves rise and fall with gentle rhythm, whispering ancient secrets to the shore. In this silence, the ocean feels alive, as if holding its breath. For deep beneath the surface, forces begin to stir. This is not a tale of quiet waters, but of rising power. It is a story carried by wind and salt, told through tide and storm. At the heart of it stands Poseidon, ruler of the sea. He is the keeper of balance, guardian of vast oceans. His trident is not just a weapon, but a symbol of order. And yet, even the strongest must face challenges. The world shifts when the giants awaken from their slumber. They do not creep softly. They rise with thunder in their steps. Mountains tremble, and the ocean stirs at their coming. It is not hatred that drives them, but restless force of nature. And so, sea and giant meet in a test of strength. This is where our story begins, between calm tides and rising storm. A myth not of destruction, but of balance found through struggle. Poseidon's battle is not one of cruelty, but of harmony restored. And the ocean waits for what comes next. The sea lies wide beneath the early dawn, its surface silver with the touch of morning light. Gentle waves move in rhythm, as if the ocean breathes with the turning of the sky. The horizon glows faintly, whispering the promise of a new day across endless waters. All seems still, but beneath this calm, the ocean listens with patient awareness. For in its depth, silence is never truly silence, but a pause before change. Poseidon stands within his domain, sensing the weight of balance in the tides. He does not rule with chains, nor does he bind the ocean with command. Instead, he listens, he guides, he flows with the eternal rhythm of waves. The sea obeys him not out of fear, but out of harmony with his spirit. The dolphins leap joyfully, sensing his presence in their waters. Fish shimmer in schools, weaving patterns like stars moving beneath the surface. Even the corals glow faintly, touched by his unseen power. This is a world alive, a kingdom without walls, vast and unmeasured. But beyond the beauty of the sea, there is a shift too subtle for mortals to notice. The wind carries a strange note, not sharp, but heavy with warning. The seabirds rise suddenly, their cries scattering across the open sky. Far below, the crust of the earth trembles, as if disturbed in its sleep. Poseidon feels it first, the stirring that does not belong to calm waters. It is not a storm, those storms he knows well and welcomes. It is not a quake, though the earth sometimes shakes with restless power. It is something older, something vast, awakening slowly with force untamed. The giants, bound in shadow and silence, begin to move once more. Their stirrings are not yet seen, but the sea feels every motion. Currents shift, waves break in patterns strange and uneven. The ocean's song falters, replaced by a deep rumble beneath. Poseidon narrows his gaze, his trident steady by his side. He does not rush forward, for he knows the sea teaches patience. Every ripple, every tide, carries meaning if one is willing to listen. And so he waits, standing firm as the guardian of the vast waters. The calm of morning feels thinner, as if stretched by unseen hands. The sun climbs, golden, yet its warmth cannot banish the growing weight. On distant shores, fishermen glance uneasily at the restless waves. Children pause in their play, noticing the sea has grown louder. Even the mountains inland seem to hum faintly, carrying the echo of awakening. Poseidon knows the signs, for he has lived through countless ages of change. The giants are not foes of flesh and bone, but forces of upheaval. They are the heavy steps of imbalance, the thunder of unchecked growth. Where they rise, harmony bends, and the world trembles in response. But Poseidon is not afraid, for the ocean is older than fear. He has faced storms, quakes, and rages of fire beneath the sea. Each time he has held steady, restoring what was broken by chaos. And now, once more, he prepares to meet the challenge rising from below. Yet he does not grip his trident in anger, nor does he summon rage. For he knows that fury blinds, but calm gives strength to endure. The dolphins dive deep, sensing the shift in the waters around them. Whales sing low songs, their voices carrying warning across the deep. The coral forests sway with uneasy rhythm, as if bowing to a coming tide. Still, Poseidon remains steady, his presence anchoring the restless sea. He raises his gaze to the horizon, where light and water meet in silence. This is the threshold of change, the line between peace and trial. And here he will stand, until the truth of the giant's rising is revealed. The sea waits with him, endless and eternal, patient for what is to come. The morning sun climbs higher, yet its golden light cannot soften the unease beneath the waves. The sea moves strangely, as if breathing with effort, each swell heavier than the last. Ships upon the horizon shift unsteadily, their sails trembling against invisible winds. Seabirds circle in restless flocks, sensing something vast stirring beneath the deep. The ocean floor groans, a sound older than language, rolling through the endless waters. Poseidon feels it echo in his chest, steady yet undeniable in its call. He closes his eyes and listens, letting the sea itself speak through its rhythm. It tells him of change, of ancient strength rising where silence once lived. The giants are stirring, not with anger, but with sheer force of being. They are like mountains learning to move, each step shaking earth and tide. The sea responds in kind, its currents twisting as if preparing for resistance. Poseidon knows this pattern, for the world remembers battles older than mortals. Yet this time, the awakening feels different, heavier, more urgent. He grips his trident, not in rage, but in readiness for harmony's defense. The trident hums faintly, its power bound not to war but to balance. Around him, the sea creatures sense the change and scatter into deeper waters. Whales sing mournful songs that stretch for miles, warning all who can hear. Dolphins vanish swiftly, their play replaced by sharp instinct to hide. Even the smallest fish dart nervously, breaking their schools in sudden flight. The ocean itself bends with tension, as though bracing for impact. From the abyss, the first shadow of the giants begins to rise. It is vast, stretching wide like a mountain pushing through the sea. No face is seen, no roar is heard, only the weight of presence. The waters churn, spiraling around the form as if drawn into its will. Poseidon stands tall, his gaze firm, his spirit anchored to the depths. He does not flinch, for he has known the sea's strength since time began. The giant's shadow swells larger, joined by another, and another beyond it. The surface trembles, waves rising higher as the sea struggles to hold steady. Still, there is no violence, only a test of strength in motion. The giants move like storms given form, their energy boundless and raw. They carry the echo of chaos, the rhythm of imbalance unrestrained. Poseidon lifts his trident, calling not thunder, but calm command. The sea hears him, answering with a surge of waves around his form. Currents spiral in patterns, ancient and sure, weaving strength through the waters. The balance is fragile, like a scale tipped between peace and upheaval. For a moment, time feels suspended, ocean and giant measuring one another. Neither strikes, neither shouts. Both simply exist in their raw power. Yet the tension grows, a tide pulling all creation toward the edge of change. Fishermen on distant shores pray as the waves crash harder against their boats. Children run to their mothers, frightened by the sudden roar of the sea. Mountains inland tremble faintly, carrying the hidden rhythm of awakening. Poseidon does not waver, for he knows fear will not hold the sea. Instead, he breathes deeply, steady as the tide, ready as the storm. The giants are not evil, but they are reckless, unbound, consuming. Their presence threatens the harmony the sea depends on to live. So Poseidon prepares, not to destroy, but to guide them back to stillness. The ocean swells around him, vast, endless, waiting for his command. And in that moment, silence falls, heavy with the weight of destiny. The second act has begun, and the true test rises from the deep. The sea swells with restless rhythm, carrying whispers of power beneath its surface. Currents twist and fold, as if weaving patterns too complex for mortal eyes. The horizon darkens slightly, though no storm cloud yet appears in the sky. It is the ocean itself that gathers weight, a living force preparing. Poseidon feels the change like a pulse, steady and undeniable in his veins. He knows the giants rise not as enemies of flesh, but as echoes of imbalance. They are nature unbridled, chaos given shape, power without a guiding hand. The deep groans again, a low thunder rolling through miles of water. Waves rise taller, then crash with voices ancient and unbroken. Fishermen far away steer their boats to shore, uneasy at the shifting tide. Villages along the coast hear the sea roar louder than before. Children cling to their elders, sensing a story unfolding beyond their sight. But in the deep, the tale belongs to Poseidon and the awakening. He stands upon the swells, his trident gleaming with quiet authority. He does not shout, for the sea itself is his voice. He does not rage, for anger bends where calm endures. Instead, he waits, letting the rhythm of the ocean steady his resolve. Beneath him, shadows lengthen, vast forms stirring in the abyss. One rises higher, cresting just beneath the waves like a mountain unfinished. Its size is beyond measure, a force more than a creature. Another follows, slower, heavier, dragging silence into motion. And then a third, distant but undeniable, shifts the very sea floor. The ocean strains, caught between Poseidon's calm and the giant's unrest. For a moment the balance wavers, as if the world holds its breath. Poseidon lowers his trident slightly, letting it touch the water's skin. The sea responds at once, rippling outward in vast concentric circles. The message is clear. Harmony must endure, balance must hold. The giants pause, their shadows steady, as though listening to the command. No word passes, no cry breaks the silence, only the movement of power. The sea swirls, building currents that circle the giants without striking. It is a dance of presence, force testing force, strength answering strength. Poseidon guides the tides, shaping motion with patience and precision. The giants resist, pressing back with weight that bends the currents awry. The struggle is not battle but balance, a scale tipping, steadying, tipping again. Above, the sky dims, clouds gathering in reluctant recognition of the moment. Thunder rolls faintly, echoing the deep groans of the ocean floor. Lightning flickers at the horizon, distant but tied to the sea's unrest. On land, priests whisper prayers to calm the restless waters. But Poseidon knows prayers cannot steady the sea, only will and wisdom can. The giants move again, stirring swells that surge higher with each step. Mountains of water rise, their peaks trembling as if reaching for the sky. Still Poseidon stands firm, feet planted in the rhythm of waves. He lets the storm build, knowing patience is the greatest strength. The dolphins return briefly, circling near as if lending their trust. Whales surface, exhaling great plumes that mingle with the restless air. Even the smallest fish dart back, drawn by his presence in the tide. The sea holds together, bound not by chains, but by harmony. Poseidon lifts his trident, and the ocean answers with calm thunder. The giants halt, their forms suspended in the half-light of the deep. For a breathless moment, balance hangs unbroken, fragile yet whole. The sea falls into a strange hush, every wave holding back its crash. Even the winds seem to pause, waiting on Poseidon's command. He does not strike, for his battle is not to destroy, but to guide. He whispers to the sea, and the sea whispers back in endless rhythm. Together they hold the line, steady against the giant's awakening. The third chapter begins not with violence, but with the patience of the deep. For in Poseidon's realm, every storm begins with silence before the surge. The sea swells with restless rhythm, carrying whispers of power beneath its surface. Currents twist and fold, as if weaving patterns too complex for mortal eyes. The horizon darkens slightly, though no storm cloud yet appears in the sky. It is the ocean itself that gathers weight, a living force preparing. Poseidon feels the change like a pulse, steady and undeniable in his veins. He knows the giants rise not as enemies of flesh, but as echoes of imbalance. They are nature unbridled, chaos given shape, power without a guiding hand. The deep groans again, a low thunder rolling through miles of water. Waves rise taller, then crash with voices ancient and unbroken. Fishermen far away steer their boats to shore, uneasy at the shifting tide. Villages along the coast hear the sea roar louder than before. Children cling to their elders, sensing a story unfolding beyond their sight. But in the deep, the tale belongs to Poseidon and the awakening. He stands upon the swells, his trident gleaming with quiet authority. He does not shout, for the sea itself is his voice. He does not rage, for anger bends where calm endures. Instead, he waits, letting the rhythm of the ocean steady his resolve. Beneath him, shadows lengthen, vast forms stirring in the abyss. One rises higher, cresting just beneath the waves like a mountain unfinished. Its size is beyond measure, a force more than a creature. Another follows, slower, heavier, dragging silence into motion. And then a third, distant but undeniable, shifts the very sea floor. The ocean strains, caught between Poseidon's calm and the giant's unrest. For a moment, the balance wavers, as if the world holds its breath. Poseidon lowers his trident slightly, letting it touch the water's skin. The sea responds at once, rippling outward in vast concentric circles. The message is clear. Harmony must endure. Balance must hold. The giants pause, their shadows steady, as though listening to the command. No word passes, no cry breaks the silence, only the movement of power. The sea swirls, building currents that circle the giants without striking. It is a dance of presence, force testing force, strength answering strength. Poseidon guides the tides, shaping motion with patience and precision. The giants resist, pressing back with weight that bends the currents awry. The struggle is not battle but balance, a scale tipping, steadying, tipping again. Above, the sky dims, clouds gathering in reluctant recognition of the moment. Thunder rolls faintly, echoing the deep groans of the ocean floor. Lightning flickers at the horizon, distant but tied to the sea's unrest. On land, priests whisper prayers to calm the restless waters. But Poseidon knows prayers cannot steady the sea, only will and wisdom can. The giants move again, stirring swells that surge higher with each step. Mountains of water rise, their peaks trembling as if reaching for the sky. Still Poseidon stands firm, feet planted in the rhythm of waves. He lets the storm build, knowing patience is the greatest strength. The dolphins return briefly, circling near as if lending their trust. Whales surface, exhaling great plumes that mingle with the restless air. Even the smallest fish dart back, drawn by his presence in the tide. The sea holds together, bound not by chains, but by harmony. Poseidon lifts his trident, and the ocean answers with calm thunder. The giants halt, their forms suspended in the half-light of the deep. For a breathless moment, balance hangs unbroken, fragile, yet whole. The sea falls into a strange hush, every wave holding back its crash. Even the winds seem to pause, waiting on Poseidon's command. He does not strike, for his battle is not to destroy, but to guide. He whispers to the sea, and the sea whispers back in endless rhythm. Together, they hold the line, steady against the giant's awakening. The third chapter begins not with violence, but with the patience of the deep. For in Poseidon's realm, every storm begins with silence before the surge. The sea rises higher, each wave carrying the echo of ancient power through the morning air. Poseidon steadies himself, his gaze firm upon the shifting horizon ahead. The giants move slowly, their forms vast, shaking the deep with every motion. It is not anger that drives them, but the sheer weight of untamed being. The ocean trembles, not with fear, but with the strain of holding its balance. Currents race in spirals, weaving around the massive shadows beneath the surface. The sky darkens as if drawn into the struggle unfolding within the sea. Clouds gather, reluctant witnesses to the rising tension of water and earth. Poseidon lifts his trident, its glow faint yet commanding across the waves. The sea answers instantly, its surface rippling with circles of strength. This is not a call to war, but to harmony in chaos. The giants press forward, their energy bending the currents to their will. Mountains of water surge, reaching higher than sails on distant ships. Sailors watch with wide eyes, whispering prayers against the restless sea. On distant shores, villagers pause, sensing change in the rhythm of tides. But here, in the deep, the clash of forces grows more profound. The giants roar without sound, their presence louder than thunder itself. Poseidon holds steady, his patience the anchor of the ocean's heart. He does not rush, for rushing shatters balance, but waits with calm resolve. The waves rise taller, then fold, crashing with voices of 1,000 storms. Still Poseidon remains, unyielding as the tide that always returns. The dance between sea and giant begins in silence, force measuring force. Each swell, each ripple, speaks the language of strength without cruelty. The giants test the waters, pushing, pulling, bending with their immense weight. The ocean bends but does not break, for Poseidon guides its flow. He whispers to the currents, and they weave tighter around the abyss. The sea becomes a net, not to trap but to steady the chaos. The giants resist, shifting, sending shockwaves across miles of water. Yet the rhythm holds, shaped by Poseidon's hand and endless patience. Thunder rolls above, answering the deep groan of the ocean floor. Lightning flickers faintly, sketching brief paths across the heavy sky. The world feels suspended, caught between balance and breaking. Still Poseidon does not falter, for he has weathered storms older than time. He lets the waves rise, lets the giants press, lets the sea endure. Every movement builds toward a single truth. Harmony must be preserved. Whales breach nearby, their massive forms singing low notes of support. Dolphins surface again, circling as if lending courage to their guardian. Even small fish gather, drawn to the pulse of balance in the waters. The sea itself glows faintly, as if light were born within its depths. The giants hesitate, slowed by the ocean's calm yet powerful embrace. Their immense forms sway, uncertain, as if listening for a hidden song. Poseidon knows patience is his strength, and silence his truest ally. He lowers his trident slightly, letting its tip graze the restless surface. Waves calm at once, circling outward like breath released from tension. The giants pause again, caught between power and stillness. For a heartbeat, the ocean feels whole, harmony pressing back against chaos. The sky brightens faintly, sunlight piercing through heavy clouds above. On distant shores, children laugh, forgetting the fear of moments before. But the test is not finished, for the giants are not yet at rest. They surge again, heavier, their weight bending currents toward collapse. Poseidon straightens, his eyes calm, his voice carried through the sea. He speaks not in words, but in rhythm, in tides that never fail. The giants hear it, the endless pulse of order that holds creation. And though they push, they cannot silence the song of the sea. The fifth act of the story is written not in battle, but in balance. Poseidon stands unbroken, guiding the ocean toward harmony once more. The dawn breaks once more, yet the ocean holds the weight of an unfinished struggle. Poseidon rises with the sun, his form glowing faint beneath the pale horizon. The giants remain, their vast shapes unsettled, caught between defiance and wonder. The sea listens carefully, each wave a breath drawn from the earth itself. Silence stretches long, not empty, but alive with hidden meanings. Poseidon gazes into the depths, where the rhythm of life begins and ends. The giants shift uneasily, unsure of the path before them. Their steps stir the seabed, raising columns of sand like ancient smoke. The ocean sways, balancing their heaviness with its endless embrace. This is not fury, but dialogue, though spoken in forces vast and unseen. The dolphins leap once more, their joy breaking the heaviness of the air. Whales hum low notes, carrying tones that stretch across leagues of water. Even corals seem to glow faintly, pulsing to the rhythm of the deep. Nature aligns itself, waiting for Poseidon's choice, the heart of the sea. The trident gleams faintly, not in threat, but as a beacon of order. Poseidon raises it slowly, and the waves respond with graceful arcs. The water spins in great circles, weaving threads of balance around the giants. No chains bind them, only the patient strength of harmony. The giants resist, yet their power falters against the ocean's unity. They lift their arms skyward, seeking force from the heavens above. Clouds part reluctantly, light streaming down like cautious blessings. The sea accepts the light, folding it gently into its waves. Poseidon speaks through the waters, his message carried in the tides. It says, balance is not weakness, but the strength to endure without breaking. The giants pause, as if hearing the truth within the current song. Their weight shifts, their vast forms trembling with quiet recognition. The ocean calms, a hush falling across its wide expanse. Sailors on distant vessels breathe relief, feeling peace where fear had lived. Children on the shore laugh, their games renewed in sunlight. Still, the giants linger, bound not by anger but by restless need. They are creatures of force, yet also bound to the world's rhythm. Poseidon knows they cannot vanish, for they are part of creation itself. He lowers his trident, letting the water fold gently around his form. The sea bows with him, swells sinking into quiet motion. This is not surrender, but trust in the ocean's enduring song. The giants listen, caught between the urge to rise and the call to rest. One leans forward, its shadow vast yet softened by the calm water. It does not strike, it only lingers, as if waiting for guidance. Poseidon's eyes hold steady, filled not with command, but with clarity. He shows them that strength lies not only in power, but in patience. The sea glows faintly once more, light rippling through every wave. Fish scatter and return, weaving silver paths around the giants. The whales sing again, their voices carrying tones of reassurance. The dolphins spiral upward, as if celebrating a truth revealed. The giants sway, their forms uncertain, like mountains learning to bend. The sky clears further, light scattering across the restless ocean. Poseidon remains still, the anchor upon which all currents turn. This act is not of victory, but of teaching through presence. The giants feel the weight of his silence, heavier than any storm. They understand, slowly, that balance is the truest form of strength. The sea breathes out, its rhythm smoothing into steady peace. And for the first time, the giants lower their immense gaze. They stand within the water, no longer as challengers, but as part of it. Poseidon inclines his head, a gesture of respect, not triumph. The ocean accepts them, folding their vastness into its endless flow. This moment marks a turning where struggle becomes understanding. The sixth act closes in calm, but the journey is far from finished. For harmony is not won once, it is renewed with every tide. And the sea waits, eternal, to see what lessons the giants will carry. The ocean stretches wide beneath the brightening sky, calm yet filled with quiet expectation. Poseidon stands steady, his gaze fixed upon the horizon where clouds drift like guardians. The giants linger still, their presence vast, uncertain, caught between rest and unrest. The sea breathes in slow rhythm, each wave echoing the heartbeat of the world. Whales swim in arcs below, their songs weaving threads of calm through the water. Dolphins scatter light across the surface, spiraling in playful but purposeful motion. Schools of fish shift as one, forming patterns that mirror Poseidon's intent. The giants stir, their massive frames sending ripples across miles of ocean. Yet their steps are slower now, hesitant, as if weighed by new thoughts. The ocean holds them gently, not in defiance, but in steady acceptance. Poseidon lifts his trident again, its glow soft, like dawn breaking over waves. The sea bends toward him, folding in curves of shimmering blue light. He does not command, but guides, shaping balance with patience and calm. The giants sway, listening with bodies that understand rhythm more than words. They move as if compelled to follow the pull of tides unseen. Storm clouds gather faintly, though without the fury that once threatened. Thunder rumbles low, like a drumbeat keeping time for the ocean's song. The giants answer with motion, their arms sweeping as mountains would shift. They do not strike, but test, measuring the strength of the sea again. Poseidon allows it, letting the currents bend, letting the ocean prove itself. Waves rise, curl, and fall, carrying the test without breaking apart. It is a lesson of endurance, not resistance, a truth the sea knows well. The giants push, but the ocean flows, never meeting force with equal force. Instead, it redirects, absorbs, spreads energy across endless depths. The lesson begins to settle, like seeds falling into fertile soil. Poseidon lowers his gaze, calm but firm, his will shaping the waters. The giants hesitate, their strength meeting no enemy, only quiet resilience. They falter not in power, but in understanding the futility of their push. The ocean does not bow, yet it does not destroy. It endures, and in that endurance lies its unmatched strength. The sky brightens again, light cutting through clouds in scattered beams. Birds wheel overhead, their cries echoing across the open water. Sailors on faraway ships marvel at the change in the sea's song. No longer fearful, they sense calm returning to its wide expanse. On the shore, children run into the surf, laughing with waves. The giants notice this harmony, their vast shadows softening in the light. They lower their arms, the weight of struggle replaced by quiet thought. Poseidon sees their hesitation and steps forward, steady as the tide.
Is that him?
His presence speaks more than any storm could shout.
He has returned.
The giants lean closer, drawn to the calm strength radiating from him. For a moment, the ocean is utterly still, waiting for choice. The giants do not roar, do not shake the seabed, but pause. In that pause lies the possibility of understanding. Poseidon lets the silence stretch, a silence deeper than any abyss. It is the sound of patience, of time itself teaching. The giants bow their heads slightly, as if yielding not in defeat, but in respect. The sea accepts this gesture, waves rolling gently in acknowledgement. Harmony returns like sunlight, soft and certain across the wide expanse. Whales breach in joy, dolphins leap, fish glitter like scattered jewels. The giants stand taller, but without defiance, their vastness now part of the rhythm. Poseidon inclines his head, a small sign of welcome into balance. The trident glows brighter, not as a weapon, but as a symbol of peace. The seventh act closes not with storm or clash, but with stillness. For in the ocean's calm lies a truth greater than victory. Balance is the deepest strength, and Poseidon holds it with unshaken grace. The horizon glows with amber light as day leans into quiet afternoon across the sea. Poseidon remains steady, his trident resting lightly, humming with a calm presence. The giants stand nearby, their vast forms softened by the shimmer of waves. No storm clouds gather now, only streaks of sunlight across the open sky. The ocean breathes evenly, its surface smooth yet alive with hidden strength. Whales rise and fall gracefully, their songs low and deep in the water. Dolphins weave playful circles, tracing symbols of peace across the sea. Fish scatter and return, their scales flashing like mirrors of sunlight. The giants sway gently, their energy no longer pressing, but listening. Their steps create ripples instead of tremor, the ocean absorbing them with ease. It is as though they are learning the language of the waves themselves. Poseidon speaks not in words, but in gestures, his trident carving arcs in water. Each motion shapes the currents, a living script of harmony. The giants follow slowly, their arms sweeping wide in imitation. The sea responds, bending not in resistance, but in graceful alignment. This is no contest, but a lesson shared in patience and rhythm. The giants learn that strength flows better when carried with balance. They begin to move with the ocean instead of against it. Mountains of water rise and fall, yet remain whole, untouched by violence. The sky clears further, its blue deepening, its warmth spreading across the sea. Seabirds return, filling the air with cries of freedom and flight. On distant shores, villagers smile, sensing the tide has found its peace. Children build castles of sand, their laughter rising with the breeze. The world watches, though unaware, as giants learn the oldest truth, that even power must bend if it wishes to endure. Poseidon lowers his trident again, its glow fading into gentle light. The ocean answers with ripples, steady as a heartbeat. The giants pause, their gaze fixed on the stillness of the sea. They seem to understand, though their silence speaks more than words. Poseidon's presence remains unshaken, calm as stone, fluid as water. He teaches without command, only by the way he endures. The dolphins leap high, their shadows cast long in the golden light. The whales breach, a thunderous exhale that echoes across the ocean. Even the smallest creatures gather, sensing the rhythm of change. The giants kneel slightly, their vastness bending toward humility. It is not submission, but an acknowledgement of balance. Poseidon inclines his head, the faintest sign of recognition. The trident hums softly, not in warning, but in welcome. The sea glows faintly, as though light blooms from its very core. Harmony has not been won in battle, but discovered through stillness. The giants stand slowly, their forms taller, steadier, calmer. They no longer move to test, but to join the ocean's rhythm. Each step is deliberate, sending waves outward like steady breaths. Poseidon remains silent, but the silence carries meaning deeper than sound. The giants raise their arms once more, but not in defiance. They mirror the arc of the waves, the rise and fall of the sea. The world feels lighter, the air less heavy, the sky more open. Children's laughter carries across beaches, unbroken by fear. Sailors breathe freely, no longer braced for sudden storms. The giants find peace in motion, learning the strength of restraint. Poseidon watches, his presence the anchor of the ocean's truth. The eighth act closes with a sea that shines in calm radiance. Balance holds, and the giants walk no longer as challengers, but as kin. The ocean remembers, the sky witnesses, and harmony lingers in every wave. The evening sun drifts low, turning the sky into shades of gold, and rose across the horizon. The ocean reflects this glow, each wave carrying a ribbon of soft firelight. Poseidon stands calm, his gaze steady as the day slips into twilight. The giants linger nearby, their vast frames softened under the fading light. They no longer seem restless, but curious, their eyes tracing the sea's movements. The air is gentle, the breeze carrying whispers of salt and distant shores. Dolphins leap and vanish, their splashes small but filled with joy. Whales sing beneath the surface, their notes deep, echoing into the night. The giants tilt their heads, listening as if to a story untold. For the first time, silence feels shared, not heavy or uncertain. Poseidon raises his trident, not in challenge, but as a beacon of light. Its glow hums faintly, brushing the water with ripples of silver. The sea responds, sending a pulse outward like the rhythm of breath. The giants watch, their eyes widening at the harmony unfolding. It is not a show of power, but of connection between sea and sky. The waves rise, not to crash, but to dance under the twilight. Each crest bends gracefully, shimmering as if touched by starlight. The giants extend their hands, letting the water flow between their fingers. For them, it is new, a sensation of calm instead of struggle. The ocean accepts their presence, weaving currents around their vast forms. The villagers far away feel it too, their hearts settling in peace. Boats drift steadily, no longer rocked by sudden surges or storms. Children chase fireflies along beaches, their laughter rising with nightfall. The balance is felt everywhere, invisible yet undeniable. Poseidon lowers his trident, the glow dimming like an ember at rest. The giants bow slightly, their movements slow, almost reverent. It is not submission, but acknowledgement of something greater than strength. The stars begin to appear, scattering across the deepening sky. Each one reflects upon the water, tiny fires on a vast mirror. The giants raise their eyes, and for once, they seem small. Poseidon watches them, his presence steady as the tide. He does not speak, yet his silence carries endless meaning. The sea itself seems to whisper, a voice older than stone. The giants kneel by the shore, their hands resting upon the waves. They feel its pulse, steady, patient, eternal in its rhythm. For them, this is not defeat, but discovery. They realize the sea does not resist, it embraces. Its strength is not in breaking, but in flowing without end. Poseidon closes his eyes briefly, the corners of his lips almost soft. He has not won a battle, but guided a lesson. The dolphins circle near, weaving patterns of light in the dark water. The whales breach once more, their breath like mist beneath the stars. Even the smallest fish glimmer in schools, painting the sea with motion. The giants slowly stand, taller but gentler in their bearing. They move with the rhythm of the tide, not against it. Each step now flows like part of the ocean's own dance. Poseidon turns his gaze to the horizon, where night embraces the sea, knows this moment will ripple outward, carried into memory. The giants, once challengers, now walk as companions of the deep. The stars guide their path, while the ocean carries their promise. The ninth act closes in quiet, not with thunder, but with grace. And the world rests easier, wrapped in the calm of newfound balance. The night deepens, its velvet sky scattered with countless stars above the vast horizon. The sea rests calm, its surface mirroring the heavens like a silver sheet of glass. Poseidon stands tall, the quiet authority of the ocean flowing through him. The giants remain near, their massive forms now softened under starlight. They no longer radiate challenge but curiosity, as if seeking to understand. The trident glows faintly, not with command, but with gentle guidance. The sea answers its light, sending ripples outward in steady rhythm. Every wave carries peace, rolling softly across the open waters. The giants lower their heads, listening to the pulse beneath the waves. It is the heartbeat of the world, older than mountains, older than time. Poseidon gestures once more, carving circles through the water with calm precision. The giants mimic him, their movements slower, but filled with intention. The sea responds, weaving their motions into its endless flow. No storm rises, no resistance pushes back, only harmony expands. Villages along the coast feel the shift in the air and tide. Fishermen steady their nets, sensing blessings carried by calm waters. Children sleep soundly, dreaming without fear of sudden thunder. The dolphins leap high again, arcs of joy in the moonlight. Whales rise slowly, their breaths like misty clouds against the stars. Every creature joins this rhythm, bound by the ocean's balance. The giants spread their arms wide, as if embracing the horizon. They seem lighter now, their steps no longer burdened with unrest. Their vast shadows soften, blending with the waves instead of opposing them. Poseidon lowers his trident once more, its glow fading into stillness. The ocean accepts this gesture, calm as a steady heartbeat. The giants kneel in the water, their hands resting upon the waves. They feel its endless current, its patience, its quiet strength. For them, this is revelation, a truth learned without words. The sea does not conquer, it endures. It embraces all who enter. Poseidon's silence speaks louder than thunder, his calm stronger than storms. The giants lift their gaze, their eyes reflecting starlight and waves. They understand now that balance is greater than raw might. They rise slowly, their movements careful, no longer pressing against the sea. Each step feels deliberate, as though walking in rhythm with eternity. The night grows deeper, but it carries no fear, only quiet. The stars shimmer brighter, guiding both sea and sky in unity. Even the winds soften, carrying songs across distant shores. The world rests, wrapped in the peace of this moment. The giants stand side by side with Poseidon, not as rivals, but as companions, bound by lessons carried through silence and sea. The trident no longer hums in warning, but in quiet resonance. It is not an ending, but a transformation unfolding in stillness. Poseidon gazes across the endless horizon, his eyes steady, calm. The giants follow his gaze, their hearts lighter than before. The sea stretches boundless, but it no longer feels apart from them. They are no longer intruders, but part of its vast harmony. The dolphins dance near their feet, weaving joy into the currents. Whales dive deep again, carrying the story into hidden depths. The villages sleep soundly, held safe by tides now at peace. And high above, the stars witness this fragile, powerful moment. The 10th act closes not with conflict, but with shared stillness. The ocean holds its truth, and the giants carry it forward. Balance remains etched in every wave, every breath of the night. The dawn rises slowly, painting the horizon with strokes of gold and soft crimson. The ocean reflects the new day, calm and endless, like a canvas of light. Poseidon stands at the water's edge, his trident resting gently by his side. The giants remain nearby, their vast forms softened under morning's glow. They no longer seem like challengers, but guardians learning their place in balance. The sea breathes steadily, its rhythm patient, its voice eternal and kind. Whales sing deep notes that roll across the open waters with grace. Dolphins leap joyfully, spinning arcs that glitter in the morning sun. Even the smallest fish shimmer in schools, painting the sea alive. The giants kneel once more, pressing their hands gently to the tide. They feel the strength beneath, not as resistance, but as welcome. Poseidon inclines his head, a quiet sign of recognition and peace. The trident hums faintly, no longer fierce, but resonant with calm. It glows like a lantern, guiding but never commanding, steady as dawn. The sea responds with ripples that carry across to distant shores. Villagers rise from their sleep, greeted by tides soft and kind. Children run barefoot along the beaches, laughter chasing the waves. Boats glide smoothly, their sails filled with steady and faithful wind. The world senses peace, though few know of the night's quiet lesson. Poseidon gazes toward the horizon, where the sun now climbs higher. The giants lift their eyes as well, reflecting light instead of shadow. They rise tall, their forms steady, yet humble under the sky. No words are spoken, but silence carries the truth between them. Power need not break to prove its worth. It must endure with balance. The giants step back slowly, walking with rhythm instead of force. Each movement flows like the tide, patient, calm, and deliberate. They leave behind no fear, only the memory of newfound harmony. Poseidon watches them depart, his expression still, yet deeply certain. The sea stretches, boundless before him, alive, eternal, unbroken. He lowers his trident once more, its glow fading into pure light. The ocean hums like a heartbeat, steady and full of promise. Birds wheel above the water, their cries weaving into the wind. The sky brightens, a chorus of color flooding the morning air. Even the giants, now distant, appear smaller, lighter, almost at peace. They are no longer enemies, but students of the ocean's truth. Poseidon turns, walking back into the waves with calm certainty. The water parts for him, cradling each step as if in reverence. Soon he disappears beneath the surface, leaving only ripples behind. But his presence remains, woven into every tide, every crest, every breath. The villagers sense it, the sailors feel it, the world knows it. The sea is no longer restless, but balanced, strong, and alive. The giants, once a threat, now walk in harmony with its rhythm. And the ocean, eternal and vast, holds them as part of its song. The dawn continues to rise, painting a new promise across the sky. Poseidon's lesson lingers, not in words, but in the silence of waves. Balance is not taken by force, it is found in harmony shared. The giants carry this truth forward, their steps lighter, their hearts calm. The world breathes easier, its tides flowing steady under a kinder sun. The story closes not with thunder, but with the quiet of peace. The ocean remembers, the sky witnesses, and the earth holds still. And through it all, Poseidon endures, not as conqueror, but as guardian. A guardian whose power is not to break, but to balance forever.